Just letting you know, this is only my spoiler first impressions of the episode. Check my pinned comment for a free gift related to this video. And to watch my unfiltered reactions with exclusive bonuses, join my Asha Media TV Club. The link is in the description box below. Now, here's my afterthoughts of this episode of Supernatural.
This was a very loaded episode. Holy shit. I was thinking of a different thing. I'll get to that with Lucifer. With my, a growing suspicion that it wasn't God. But to be honest, I wasn't really thinking Lucifer in that sense. Just in a different way in terms of influence. But, okay. I'm going to stick to what I've been doing. So far, I've received good feedback about it. Just focusing on the episode as I go and kind of give you my thoughts as I go, rather than babbling out of all kinds of confusion and frustration of not understanding or what they're of. Okay, so let's go at the beginning, right? Started off with him seeing Lucifer, and my joy at seeing Mark Pellegrino resume his role. Oh, so glad it's him that's back. And I look forward to all his performances. No matter how annoying the scenes sometimes can get in just one or two episodes from previous times, I still love watching him. I just love watching him. He's one of my favorite actors. Anyway, but at the beginning, they showed him in the cage. Now, I know you can't spoil anything, so I'm wondering, I'm just going to say right now, I wonder if it's going to be a surprise element they'll throw in, perhaps at the end of the season, when they're wrapping up their solution about Michael, because, they said when darkness hit, Michael and Lucifer were freaking out in the cage. And they're not showing Michael at all. So, if they're just sticking to casting the original actors, then okay, fine. I guess you could say, what can you say? Unless I missed it. Did they say a line about Michael? I guess during my edit, I'll try to listen back to the scenes, because where is he? At least they got to throw in something where if you can't get the actor to resume his role, they got to give up something where he is in hell, at least, Perhaps they had to, I don't know, because technically God sealed them both at the end of season 5. So just showing Lucifer and not giving any explanation, for me as a viewer, that's kind of off-putting, because I'm like, okay, fine. But why? Give me some kind of why. It's just weird to be just watching Lucifer and then there's no Michael in the cage when he's supposed to be in the cage. So unless I missed something, maybe a reference, I'll trust for you to give me some clarification on that. But just, I guess, sticking to what they're presenting to me. Lucifer. Now, okay, because I don't want to go too back and forth. All right, at the beginning, I really love the scene with the faithful followers and Amara questioning that and questioning their allegiance to this blind faith to a God they've never met. And I do like the conversation that presents. There's so many things back and forth you can go on a philosophical level, on a spiritual level, on a religious level, all three of those things, which are not all of the same. But it kind of got a little like want when she ended up killing them just to get God's attention, which now is the pattern for her, which I'm not too on board with, but I'm very thankful that they have Dean to call her out on it, and that's good. But the scene in and of itself was enjoyable. Maybe just because, I don't know. Maybe it depends on your, well, for me, I can only speak for myself, because I've come from such a world where that blind devotion can be blinding. Seeing the mockery of it on some level, for me, it's satisfying. I'll just leave it at that. It's satisfying. And when it's done well, it's done well. Okay, let me move a little forward here. So from the beginning, we're seeing that she's all grown up. That I'm very happy about too, because I think after, the last little interaction between Dean and young Amara, they needed to grow her up to make the scene a lot more palatable to watch. For me, personally. Okay. The burning bush part, yes. When Sam is describing it to Dean, his reaction and the lines they gave was just wonderful, wonderful. I mean, just the way he just turns it on him in a sense of like in a forest, trees are burning. That was just great. That was a good moment. One of those funny scenes you'd put in a collage of funny scenes for the season kind of thing. I enjoyed that. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to Rowena being introduced back into the fold of everything. That was fantastic, of course. This actress, she's just, everybody nails who they play. I gotta just stop saying it because it needs to not be always said. It's a given thing that these are just wonderful actors playing their role. And I think it's the saving grace of this show. Whenever sometimes I feel they drop the ball with the writing, the actors really make up for it. Now, the part there where she goes into the church, I kind of wish, in a sense, because, mind you, I don't know how much time has passed for her to go from young Amara strolling the streets as I last saw her to grown-up Amara. And you'd think, while she's exploring the world, you'd think the first place she would have gone to is a church. So I kind of wish they had written in more of a realistic perspective that this is maybe her, 1,000th church, and the result she's getting perhaps is so different maybe from previous churches that she has to then act out and lash out the way she did, rather than now I'm just supposed to just believe as a viewer that the in-between time of young teenage Amara or young adult Amara to this Amara, what were you doing? You know what I mean? Like, what were you doing? I can't help but think that. Like, what were you doing, girl? Partying up? I don't know. Learning about putting on makeup? Anyways. So I kind of wish they did the scene just a little bit differently. But it was still fun, especially the priest's reaction. I really love that line where she's like, he's making you believe what he wants. And the guy's like, yes, exactly. I got a kick out of that. That was great. It's funny because as I'm saying the scenes, I'm not really going along with what I'm looking at because I have so much going on in my mind with this episode. So bear with me. I apologize. I'm trying to get used to doing it in this format. All right, back to Crowley and Rowena. The back and forth exchange with them, always fun. But when she did say, or when he did highlight Crowley the multiple times she's trying to kill him and vice versa, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if this show, because I said it before, right? That when she first sat on his throne, and I think at this point in of the year, like 2014-15, a lot around that time, I mean, it makes sense that the show would start to start to bring up some balance with male versus female characters. I mean, come on. The subtext alone from Amara in this episode, as I said in my reaction, very much on the nose there with a lot of feminism points. But aside from that, though, when I'm talking about with Crowley and Rowena, I couldn't help but like, oh no, are they going to have her actually kill Crowley and have her be the queen of hell? I could totally see that. In fact, I feel that's kind of what they could possibly be setting up. Her sitting on that throne, I don't know, it just makes sense. And then you have her, it just makes sense. And all the more so seeing this episode, I'm even more like, okay, if they go that way, they go that way. It'll destroy me as a viewer who loves Crowley. But on a writing standpoint, I could see that if they're going to balance things, because I mean, come on, the boys have been trying to kill Crowley anyway. Aside from, if I put away my love, right, and I try to look at this objectively in terms of narrative, I could see where a character like Crowley will play his part up until a certain point to then have a shift of power to Rowena, which a lot of setup is there for, and it would be believable for me to see, okay, she would then get her wish of being important and powerful and end up ruling hell. So I know I'm kind of going all over the place a little bit too much into a lot of jumping the gun, but I'm just saying that on a story point, I like the idea, so maybe that's why I'm just like, okay, if they do that, that's kind of interesting. So yeah, between the two of them, if she gets the better of him, that I guess that's inevitable. But the point for me, where I'm just like, if Supernatural totally surprises me with something different, I'll be very impressed. But the whole thing with her and Lucifer, that's a given. That's a given. Just her reaction to Lucifer, the little slight smile and giggle, and Prince of Darkness, and if they're following the common lore, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've read in books with witches, the common lore of witches who do cast their spells and rituals in the name of Lucifer, in reverence to Lucifer, right? So her caring for Lucifer in that sense, in the way she even said herself, there's an attraction there. I could see her being somewhat the instrument for Lucifer to use, and maybe a relationship kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm very tempted. Trust me, I'm so tempted to see, is Mark Pellegrino here to stay for a little bit or what? Okay, but anyway, I ship them, and I hope to see some stuff happen. Okay, let me just keep moving a little forward here so I don't get too caught up in my own tangents. All right, yes, the angels finally banding together to do something. Now, I thought it was going to be angels and demons doing this stuff together. So, based on the scene, it seems it's just these angels. Now, they got killed off at the end by Amara, so I guess it came and went, which is kind of disappointing. Because I really thought they were going to do something with the whole angels and demons thing. But I'll say that I appreciated the effort, even though the performance of it was really corny. But the effort itself was nice to see for what it was worth. I'll leave it at that. Okay. Keep going. All right. Yeah, she's taken souls. Okay, so this whole thing of her telling Dean that, nobody's really dead. They're all within her. Sure. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about that with God and heaven. Heaven, I mean, in a sense, it's a safekeeping of souls anyway. It's just for her, it's within her, and for heaven, it's in heaven. But let's say there was no heaven. Would God have just pretty much kept them all within him anyway, too? Because he's the creator or the originator of souls, right? I don't know if you understand what I mean. Sorry if I didn't explain that properly. But I guess you could say she's heaven and hell all in one, in a sense. Okay, let me just get to the two main things that I'm just like, what the F? And I'm kind of rushing a tiny bit because I have restricted time to do my next recording for the next episode, but I'll do my best to highlight the main points. So this connection now. Okay, the inevitable connection between Dean and Amara. It's there. It's palpable. It's sexy. Or is it? Some of you may not like the character of Amara, so maybe it's awkward for you, but nonetheless, I don't know what to say to it. Like, you're either digging it or you're not. I'm fine with it. I love the actress. I love Jensen. And I mean, her character right now, I'm still getting to know her, so I'm not sure just yet how much it bothers me or doesn't bother me, but I thought it was inevitable anyway. And the way they kept showing on so many fronts from the moment she was born into a baby's body, that he does feel drawn to her. I think this connection through the mark makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, all I kept thinking though too was like, what if he didn't take the mark from Cain? Then it would have been Cain? Oh no. Or is it because it's because she was released that she's connected? Yeah. But if it was Cain, it's connected back to that spell that Rowena did. Anyway, I like it. I'm glad it's there. So, like, technically, Dean's girlfriend is God. Or goddess, if you want to feminize the word. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not gonna say too much else on that because I'm still kind of I'm not really sure exactly what I fully understand from her perspective, aside from the, you know, like I said, the feminist tones there and points they were trying to make there. Very heavy handed. Not gonna get into that. It's not really a subject matter I care to talk about too often, even though I hear it. I read it, I watch it in different points. So if you want to break down your paragraphs of thoughts on it, you're more than welcome, but it's certainly not a topic of conversation that interests me too much. All right, so let's move on to the bigger picture here, and that's Lucifer. It was Lucifer all along, kind of thing. Okay, so according to him, what I understood, he said, the impact of darkness's release weakened the cage, to which Crowley had no knowledge of. And the reason he had no knowledge of that is because he doesn't understand the cage due to the fact it's divinely designed, right? God himself sealed him there. So God then would be aware, wherever he is aware then that Lucifer is somewhat loose-ish in a sense of his influence on the world. Influence enough to go to the one person he knew he could probably fool, which was Sam. And the way Rowena got Crowley out of there, so at this point in time, until I see further, it implies that she was in the know of Lucifer's deception. Perhaps Lucifer reached out to her too, right? Because I'm sure, I mean, if they're saying that he could reach out to Sam, he obviously could reach out to probably so many other people who he believed would ally with him. And Jarrett's performance, I mean, that moment with the tears flowing down when he realized he was trapped in the cage. Kudos, hats off. That was amazing. And the shock of the moment was so much, but I was just so taken aback by it. And listen, I mean, I'm not looking, okay, let me say this real quick. I'm not looking to debate this. Please do not take this as initiative to debate this, what I'm going to say next. But just that moment, and when you really think about what Sam has been through, let's just say I could right now write an essay how Sam is actually stronger than Dean in terms of personal inner strength. When you compare experiences between the two. Don't freak out, Dean people, okay? Dean fans. I'm not saying he's better. I'm just saying that if right now somebody were to say, okay, who's actually been through the most colossal shit? It is Sam. Because he was in that cage. I mean, the dialogue alone, right? Bunker and all that. Psychologically, everything that we've seen that they've presented with Sam, I'm like, what kind of Dean we would have had if Dean endured the exact same thing. Yes, he was in hell, but he eventually went from being tortured to being the torturer. And just even, anyways, I'm not going to get too much into it. I'm just saying that there's such an argument to be made that although it seems as if Dean is kind of the stronger one physically, and even in terms of skill and as a hunter, and Sam has acknowledged him being the best hunter he knows, that strength is so different from the strength from Sam as a character, as a person, from what he's endured. Oh, and that just culminated so beautifully in Jarrett's performance of the shock and God knows what, I can't even articulate it, to know that in that moment you're stuck with this person who's done unimaginable things to him. Well, him and Michael, right? So, or maybe would Michael partake in that? I don't know. But there's definitely a case there. And I'll tell you right now at this point, my perspective of Sam, although it's still muddled with a lot of confusion on certain things that they've written for the character and how they've shifted him at times, which I'm not going to get into. I'm happy to see, though, for now, that you have an episode like this that highlights some of those aspects from the Kripke seasons not to be taken lightly when it comes to Sam as a character. And if you blend it with the seasons afterwards, there are some holes in it that I'm not too sure about, but it was a great scene. It was a great scene. So, I think I will leave it there. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. This was a really good episode. Very entertaining. I mean, there's only one thing I kind of wasn't into in terms of story, and that's having Amara use innocent lives. I mean, it's just weird. You have her say the line that I'm not looking to hurt or do any. I don't like. She doesn't care about the creation part. She just wants to talk to God. But then using them as fodder, right? Cannon fodder in a sense to get God's attention. Which, yes, like I said, I know repeatedly, they had Dean Colorado on it, but it makes her as a character not easily sympathetic. You know, if perhaps they had a more clever way. I mean, better she just start, I don't know, destroying natural wonders of the world or something than destroying people. Because if you want me to hook on to you as a character and be sympathetic to your argument to find your brother, right, since you're so superior to him, that's kind of not the way to go about it. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. Ashamoji wise, oh, so good. Like the whole Lucifer scene, if I were to rewatch this, that's the first scene I'm going back to. Just visually, they did a great job. Performance was good, aside from the weirdness with Amara, but I kind of don't want to ding the episode on it, but I kind of do have to ding it, I'll be honest, because it makes it where I wouldn't care to watch her scenes all that much, except for her and Dean. I'm fine with watching her kissy with Dean. It's fine. So I have to give it 4.5 just because of that. It's not thoroughly rewatchable on that end. But I think that's a great score, considering, okay? Yeah, so that's my Ashamoji. There you have it. That's my reaction to episode number 9 from the 11th season of Supernatural. Now, if you want access to my uncut, unfiltered reactions, as well as bonus stuff that I share with my members only, details on joining Asha Media TV Club is in the description box below for you. All right, people, I'm going to now press play on episode number 10. I will see you in that video. You know what's up. Peace.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos.